Welcome to round 1 of the Charlotte Legacy League 1K. Welcome to round 1. Andres is playing on Jeskai Delver, and Dalton is playing on Temur Delver. Dalton will be on the play, and both players will keep 7 cards. We should see Dalton lead off here. It looks like he has a volcanic island in his hand. So let's see what he does. Alright, Dalton leads off with a volcanic island and a Mishra's Bauble. Baubles Andres to look at the top cards, then casts a Ponder. Trying to decide if he wants to keep that or shuffle. Looks like he's just going to draw a card off the top and pass. And it was a tropical island that he kept. Andres plays a Delver off of his volcanic island. Dalton dazes it by returning the volcanic island to his hand. Dalton chooses to play the volcanic island. And we'll see if he's going to brainstorm, if he has a Delver on his own. Oh, he is going to ponder again. Looks like he's got to stifle a Delver and something else on the top there. Not quite sure. Maybe a fetch land. He chooses a draw and he draws a Delver. Andres is going to play a brainstorm. Resolves. So he picks up a wasteland, a fetch, and an underground. No, not underground. Maybe a tundra there or something. He'll wasteland the volcanic and pass back. Let's see. Dalton plays a tropical island and a Delver. Passes over. Andres with a Scalding Tarn. So he has a Scalding Tarn, Force of Will, Brazen Borrower, and he goes to fetch and gets stifled. Oh, it's backbreaking. Such a gross card. He does recover by drawing, looks like another land. Let's see what he goes with here. He plays a Polluted Delta this time. Passes back. Delver attacks for 3. Dalton follows that up with a Brainstorm on main phase 2. Andres is fetching in response to the Brainstorm to see if Dalton wants to crack his fetch to stifle that and leave himself Brainstorm locked on the top if he doesn't find another fetch land. So we'll see what Dalton chooses to do. Dalton will fetch and stifle again. So Andres has essentially been wastelanded twice there. Off of those 2 stifles, which is pretty tough to come back from when you've got a Delver beating on you. And Dalton draws 3 off the Brainstorm, and we'll put 2 back. And then, a wasteland. So Andres, no mana at the moment. Recovers with the Volcanic and a Darcy. It doesn't look like he has Delirium, though. He has Creature, Instant, and Land in his graveyard. Let's see here. Andres is at 12. Delver attacks for 3. And followed up with a Termagoyf. That will be rather large if it resolves, but it looks like Andres has a Force. And Dalton has no response to that. Looks like he has a Bolt and a Brainstorm in hand for Dalton. Andres has a Force, Wasteland, now in play. It's a Darcy. Swings in for 1, it looks like. He'll Wasteland him off the Volk. Passes back. Delver swings for 3. Brainstorm. Trigger off the Dragon Rage Chandler. He's got a Swords Posture in his hand, but can he find a Tundra is the question. That does not look like a Tundra. Andres in a little bit of trouble here. Attacks for 1. Dalton will fetch at the end step. Volcanic and Lightning Bolt Andres. Now that he's Lightning Bolt Andres, looks like Andres is going to Force of Will, taking him down to 4 life, using the Dragon Rage Chandler to put the top card in the bin. And Dalton will Brainstorm. See if he uses his days here. Andres uses his days. Dalton shows him Lightning Bolt. That's the end of game 1. Welcome back to game 2. Andres will be on the play this time, and he is going to mulligan to 6, and Dalton will keep 7. It was kind of a tough game. One for Andres with a double stifle and then getting wastelanded. Maybe we'll be able to see him turn it around here and get some threats on the board and try and work through Dalton's hand. So Dalton draws. So he has a wasteland, a bauble, volcanic, and a tropical island. So bauble himself, which is something you would do if you have a fetch, and if you don't like the top card, you get to fetch that away, and then draw a fresh card that's unknown. So looks like Dalton likes what he saw on top. He'll pass a turn. Andres does not flip the Delver, unlike every single time I play against him, and he fucking flips it blindly. So, yeah, there's that. Dalton's going to ponder off of a tropical island and decide if he wants to keep it or shuffle the library. Looks like there's a Murktide there. Perhaps a Termagoyf as well. That's pretty solid. He has a Volcanic Island in his hand. He has played Return. Andres still does not blind flip the Delver. I wish this luck were the same when he plays against me, but them's the breaks. Dalton follows up with a Volcanic Island. He has a Delver in hand and a Stifle, so that fetch land over there is not looking great. Andres will untap, go for the flip again on the... Oh, well, he's going to use a Pyroblast during his the trigger on the stack to see if he wants to keep it, using the Deathrite Shaman, or Deathrite Dragon Rage Chandler to look at the top card. He does get the flip with the Brainstorm, and he attacks for 4. He has a good board presence now, nothing on Dalton's side. So we'll see how Dalton plays it. Dalton plays a what the fuck are those things called now? It's not a Windswept Heath. It's fucking late. It's the one that fucking fetches the blue or the white one. Anyway, that's what he's got over there. In the middle of that, though, I seem to have missed a Lightning Bolt on a Delver, and Andres follows that up with a Dragon's Rage Chandler. There's a Termagoyf. Oof. Alright. So, Brainstorm double trigger. See what we're doing here. Dalton fetches. Maybe trying to bait out like a daze or something on the Brainstorm and then stifle the fetch. Oh, okay, nope. He's gonna Unholy Heat one of the Dragon Rage Chandlers, which will resolve, but there's still 2 triggers on the stack. Andres puts the first one away. It looks like he likes the second one. Andres will draw 3. There's a land there. And another Pyroblast, which is good. He does find the Tundra, so he doesn't have to fetch to get his white source. And he has a Source of Plowshare, which he will burn on the Goyf. Trigger on the Dragon Rage Chandler will put another polluted Delta into the graveyard. Dalton will gain 4 there. Andres will attack for 3. There's still not a sorcery in the graveyard, so it does not have Delirium. He has a Force of Will maybe in his hand, and a Red Blast and a Daze. So Murktide 1 has arrived, and he is a 7/7. He's a thicky boy. Dalton follows up with a Delver as well after Andres just got done clearing his board. Feels like Hogak all over again. Andres will fetch, and he has a Lightning Bolt, a Daze, and a Pyroblast. He does have the Bolt. See what Dalton does here. He fetches another Tropical Island, and he may be Hellbent, or maybe he's in his draw step. He's in his draw step, alright. So he draws, attacks Andres for 3. Andres attacks for 1 again. He plays his own Delver, passes the turn. Dalton for 3 again. And there's a Delver. Andres finds another Tundra. Still has that Bolt and Daze in hand. I wonder if he's going to use that Bolt on the Delver here. They'll trade. Alright. And then passes back to Dalton. Dalton attacks for 3 again. And plays another Tarmogoyf. Man, those are some freaking top decks. Andres with another Delver. Passes back. The Daze doesn't look very good right now when you're looking at 5 lands. Tarmogoyf comes over for 5. Well, they're showing 5, but they go back and count, and it ends up being 4. Dalton doing what he's not supposed to do. Oh, no, never mind, he's good. Thought he was getting his graveyard out of order, but he is playing a Murktide. This one will be a 4/4. That's quite a board state. Untaps. Alright, this is where they're talking about the graveyard. Alright. Tarmogoyf was a 4. Andres flips a Brainstorm. It's very good. Let's see. Brainstorm's here. Trigger on the Dragon Rage. Puts another Dragon Rage to the graveyard. Finds a Wasteland and 2 other cards. Tundra, Daze, Wasteland. Got a Wasteland. So that Bolt in his hand. Oh, now the Delver flips. Okay, so Andres has only been taking 1 from that Delver. I thought it would have been 3, so that was my mistake. Alright, so we got Flying Delver, got a big 4/4 Goyf, and a 4/5 Goyf, and a 4/4. There's the Force of Will that he flipped off the top of the Delver flip, hitting the Brazen Borrower. Andres untaps, and he'll bolt Dalton, getting the top card of his library. Let's see. He follows up with his own Murktide. Some pretty good shape here. This will be an 8/8. Take his Dragon Rage Chandler Alpha Delirium. And now Dalton has to play defense. So we'll see what happens here. Keeping the graveyard tidy because of his legacy. Dalton passes back. See what Andres does here. He's Looks like he drew a cantrip, so yeah. He's going to do a ponder. And then flip the days into the graveyard. Found another Brazen Borrower, which is fantastic for him. Let's see if he attacks. He doesn't. He passes. That's an interesting line. Wastelands him off the volcanic. That's kind of tough. Uses the mana floating to bounce the Murktide. A little bit of glare there in the graveyard. Didn't know I got a blind spot. Dalton has another Murktide in his hand. Jeez. Andres on an adventure. I think he's going to go to combat here. He attacks. He has to block with the Murktide. Otherwise, it's goes to 1. It's tough. Ponder resolves. He's going to likes what he saw. Found a Swords of Plowshare. Swords the wow. I mean, if he would have attacked first, I think he would have been able to see that the oh well. There's a bolt, and that will end things. And that will do it for round 1. We will see you in round 2.